serial killers and horny camp counselors. The perfect combination. 80s style. I'm breaking down and reviewing American Horror Story, 1984, Episode 1. Hey Twisted people, it's your Twisted Girl here, and no, you are not lost. I am actually doing a Ryan Murphy show. I know, if you know me, you know that I've been emotionally scarred from watching Glee, and I kind of swore off anything with Ryan Murphy attached because I was just at this point where I was like, I can't love any characters because he always destroys them. Once I saw that this was going to be 1980s horror slasher nostalgia, I was kind of like Al Pacino in The Godfather. I keep trying to leave, but you keep pulling me back in. Yes. I studied theater, guys. So yeah, here we are. I pretty much really wanted to check out this season and break it down because I was like, well, if I'm going to be spending some hours of my life, why not talk to you guys about it and let's go through it? Because I love the 80s. Episode 1 definitely did not hold back any of the punches or more so stabbings. Yes. Lots of stabbings. It did not hold back on that kind of bloody violence with episode 1. And I felt like it had just the right amount of 80s slasher nostalgia with a hint of underlying deeper mystery going on. Although I'm still kind of trying to figure out if it's being somewhat of a meta parody of 80s slasher, or if it's taking itself seriously as an 80s slasher, or if it's taking itself seriously as a period piece that happens to have slasher tendencies. Yeah, I'm kind of wondering where they're going with this because it's fun, but I don't know if the whole 10 episodes can be kind of them just kind of playing on the 80s slasher tropes, if that makes sense. 1970s Massacre. So yeah, it opened up with a three-way, which that's very much that makes sense for Ryan Murphy's brand. And so yeah, that happened, and then Mr. Jingles, who we find out he was Mr. Jingles later on in the episode, killed all those people in 1970s. We meet our core group of future camp counselors in an epic aerobics exercise opening. Oh my gosh, it was so awesome. Yes. I mean, the whole opening was just awesome. But yes, we meet the core gang when it comes to, I guess, who we're going to be seeing for the duration of this season. The sexy Xavier has the idea for him and his friends, and also now Brooke, who's not his friend, some stranger who they collect because, yeah, that's what you do in LA. I totally felt that on a cosmic level as someone who currently lives in LA, that you kind of don't get to know people, you just collect them, and you all just kind of sort of hang around each other, sure. Anyway, yeah, so Xavier has the idea that they all should go to Camp Redwood to be counselors because they're not doing background checks or whatever, and they need to get out of the city because there's a serial killer on the loose. The actually very real serial killer of the 1980s, the Night Stalker. Then Brooke is attacked by the Night Stalker. Straight up I was not expecting that. That threw me off. I was like, whoa, they're just going with it. So yeah, the Night Stalker jumps into her window after she mentioned earlier about people keeping their window open in the summer. Okay. And can I also say how jealous I was of the fact that she had her own apartment? Once again, someone living in LA. It's very expensive here, guys. So, yeah, she gets attacked. She survives. The Night Stalker tells her, I will find you. And he gets away, but she gets to live. And so she goes with Xavier and the group to Camp Redwood. The group then hits a guy. Once again, wasn't expecting that. Just a lot is happening. Lots going on. So they hit this guy who's just walking in the road, and so they take him back to the camp. Xavier is totally on some I know what you did last summer, Ryan Philippe type mess, which kind of makes sense because they very much look similar and also are quite attractive, just like each other. But yeah, he basically is like, we got to get our story straight. We didn't hit this guy. And I'm like, whoa, this is early. We're seeing his character. So they take the guy back to the camp. The hiker is pretty much unconscious, and the counselors go about their day getting settled in the camp, and we find out that the camp owner, Margaret, actually is the lone survivor from the 1970 massacre that we saw early on in the film. She's also a Bible thumper. Cut to Mr. Jingles basically breaking out of the asylum, and yeah, he gets out and he wants to go back to Camp Redwood because, as we see, his doctor or psychiatrist or this woman who had been, looking after him finds a newspaper clipping. Somehow this guy got a newspaper clipping, and he saw that Camp Redwood was reopened. So this sparked him to break out and go back to Camp Redwood. The only person that sees him and he attacks, though, is Brooke. So, yeah, no one, of course, believes her because the hiker that also, Mr. Jingles totally killed him and stamped him to a door disappears. His body disappears. Somehow Mr. Jingle cleaned up after himself. Mainly the excuse is that they've all been using a lot of drugs and booze all day, so how could she totally be in her right mind anyway? Which kind of, that's a good point. And then Brooke, for whatever reason, goes to answer the payphone in the night after she just got attacked. And we also see, cut to a tree, that Night Stalker is at the Camp Redwood now. So they pretty much got the ball rolling immediately when it comes to just kind of setting the foundation. There were hints at mysteries that, of course, I'm pretty sure we're going to dive into. Red herrings. I think there were a few red herrings, and I'll get into that when it comes to my predictions. But overall, they did not skip on the blood and the gore when it came to... I didn't expect it so quickly. I kind of thought the first episode would be like one or two people dying, like people that weren't really like close to the plot, so it would let you know that someone's dying. But they really just kind of went all out with the attacks to the point where you're kind of like, okay, how are they going to keep this momentum of the slasher vibe for like 10 whole episodes if stuff is popping off already? Because usually, that's why slasher films are usually like an hour and a half, right? Because once stuff starts popping off 20 minutes in, there's only but so far you can go before everyone dies. So it's kind of like, are they going to do a push and pull? Are we going to get some, killings and then it's going to stop? Or, I'm curious to see how they're going to draw this out. But, they've done previous anthologies, although I think those plot lines were a little different, so that they were able to draw them out. This is a little different, it's a slasher vibe, so usually those aren't very long for a reason. Some of the questions I think it set up was that Brooke clearly had a wedding ring, so she has a story, she has a past. She's, they're kind of playing her like she's the stereotypical final girl, like the innocent one in the group, and so in comparison to Montana, who, oh my gosh, that name, right? But so they're kind of playing it like that, but she clearly had a husband or a fiance, or she was with someone who she's clearly not with anymore. So I thought it was interesting that they alluded to that because that might, play into something. Xavier's phone call at the gas station was also very ominous and very weird, and probably very typical for a show like this. I am curious what that meant. I mean, clearly Xavier was kind of is running from something. He's got some mystery going on of why he wanted to leave town that he wasn't maybe very upfront with his friends about. So we'll see where that goes. I was confused about the hiker a little bit because the hiker was revealed to have had a missing ear, but it looked like a fresh missing ear. But the thing is, Mr. Jingles didn't break out of the asylum until like 3 hours prior, which was after they had got the hiker. So it's kind of like, who cut off his ear? Because it couldn't have been Mr. Jingles because he was in the asylum up to a certain point. So I think that lets you know someone else might be using Mr. Jingles' tactics. I thoroughly enjoyed Trevor, the older camp counselor. I'm going to call him Big Dick Energy for the duration of this season. BDE. I'm going to call him BDE. Yes, because, well, you saw the episode. Yes. And so he was fun. I enjoyed that. And I totally got a kick out of the aerobics kink that Montana has. It's such a random thing, but it's so funny and it really works because, his thing is aerobics too. It's such a thing. And so of all the things to be like really into, I thought that played out really well and it was funny. Margaret definitely has a deeper story, and I think we're probably going to see that throughout. You know, she's kind of a Bible thumper, but then again, why is she so obsessed with reopening Camp Redwood after what happened? Why is Mr. Jingles obsessed with Camp Redwood in particular? I mean, if he's just a killer who likes to kill, why not break out and just want to kill people everywhere? Why Camp Redwood? I mean, he's not Jason Voorhees. He didn't like die in the lake there because of some horny camp counselors. But so why the attachment to it? You know, just because it was like his 1970 massacre? I don't know. So I think we'll see that unfold. And I think there's definitely a deeper mystery going on. I mean, it's the first episode, so there was a lot of action that happened, a lot of, you know, alluding to mystery that I think we'll dig a bit deeper into. Also, I totally peeped that little look between Ray and Brooke. And I think that would be way better for her than Chet at this point, who, I mean, I don't even know his purpose except being like the dumb jock. All of them were total stereotypes, right? And I enjoyed that. I really enjoyed it. You know, Montana was the hot chick who's kind of overly sexualized when it comes to, you know, life, you know. And then you had Brooke, of course, like I said, she's kind of the telltale final girl, but I think we've subverted enough of those tropes with the final girl that sometimes the final girl that you think is going to be the final girl isn't the final girl. So that's not saying anything. But yeah, she's totally that. Chet is like the, you know, jock, the boneheaded jock so far. Xavier's sort of the jock, but he's like the swarmy rich guy kind of trope. And then Ray's the nice dude so far. So far, Ray's like the nice dude. Also, he's the black guy. He's the black guy of the 1980s slasher film. But I think they kind of combined it with him also being the nice guy. I hope they do. I really hope they do. As in, I hope he doesn't die. I mean, let's not do that. But, yeah, so that's a thing. And so, so far, the cast of characters is really interesting, and I dug it. I wasn't sure, like I said, I've never gotten into the other American Horror Story previous seasons. I know it's very twisty, turny. I've read what happens in them. I know Ryan Murphy's writing, and I know his direction when it comes to a lot of his stuff. Even if he's not the exact writer on the episode, that's his branding is in it. So I know it's going to be outlandish with a lot of the stuff. So I'm expecting it, and I'm gonna relish in it for the most part, in the 80s nostalgia of it all. So overall, I thought this was a quality start. I do wonder how they're going to, like I said earlier, how they're going to keep this 10 episodes if stuff is kind of happening right in the beginning and keep the mystery up. So I'm kind of thinking there has to be something more than just a killer. There has to be some deeper kind of plot line going on that we haven't exposed yet. And I think the slasher thing might just be like the red herring of it. Like, oh, this is a slasher thing, but this totally isn't a slasher thing. I think that's where it's going to have to go if we're doing 10 episodes of this, right? Because if not, it's just like 10 episodes of them trying to avoid a killer. What's that? Or who the other real killer might be. Because we all know the obvious killer isn't the obvious killer. Someone else is in on it. But the question is who? So far, like I said, I think Brooke's innocent girl act is not necessarily an act like she's insidious or something, but I definitely don't think that's all there is to her, because she knew too quickly about serial killers. And why do you know that? I mean, I know about serial killers too. So, I mean, that's not saying I could be a killer. But I guess that, whatever. I just totally incriminated myself. But what I'm saying is there's more to her than meets the eye. Margaret clearly has more secrets. I think there's a deeper meaning as to why she's so obsessed with Camp Redwood. And I'm going to make a prediction that one of the two black people in this cast will survive. They did kill a black guy in this first episode, the orderly, but he was kind of a jerk. And, he's kind of like a Star Trek red shirt. It's kind of like, oh, I know this guy's going to die. I mean, yeah, it's a black guy, but yeah, that doesn't matter. But I'm talking about the main cast. I'm hoping at least one of the two of them survive. It'd be great if both of them do. But we all know that's not going to happen because it's too small of a cast. I'm guessing like 95% of these people are going to die. So let's hope Ray pulls through. Prayer circle for Ray, y'all. My My fave scene was definitely the aerobics opening class scene. Oh my gosh, it was so epic. Oh my gosh. This whole opening of this show. I mean, I'm biased because I love the 1980s nostalgia style, but I just thought it was awesome that it was so 80s with the aerobics class. It worked. I mean, it was like, it kind of set the tone in such an awesome way. So I appreciated that. Okay, y'all, so that is my review and breakdown of episode 1 of American Horror Story 1984. Like I said, I am new to this fandom. I'm total noob. I'm totally here because of the 80s nostalgia. I will not lie to you. I was really curious, and so far I have been very much entertained. So I dug it. Did you agree with my thoughts and feelings when it came to the 80s nostalgia? Do you think that there's a deeper story going on here, or do you think it's face value? Also, if you've watched American Horror Story before, the other anthology installments, do you think this is going to be the best season yet? Do you think it's going to be the worst season yet? Do you think that it might be somewhat in the middle? And what is your favorite season that you think I should watch since I haven't watched any of these? I kind of watched Coven. Coven, was it, right? I watched it. Yeah, let me know. Comment down below with your thoughts. Let me know everything you're thinking. I'm so excited to go on this season journey with you when it comes to American Horror Story 1984. Also, be sure to subscribe so that you are the first to know when I post my videos. Press that subscribe button, y'all, so you know. Thanks for watching.